Mr. Ashford, I know you're in pain, but throwing things at the nursing staff won't make the cancer hurt any less. It just makes everyone afraid to help you. 33-year-old Dr. Indigo Marsh spoke calmly but firmly as she picked up the water pitcher her new patient had hurled across the room moments before her arrival. 34-year-old Quillen Ashford glared at her from his hospital bed, his jaw clenched, his eyes burning with fury that barely masked terror. He'd been diagnosed with advanced pancreatic cancer 3 weeks ago, and in that time he'd driven away 6 nurses, 2 oncologists, and even the hospital chaplain with his relentless hostility. "Get out," Quillen snarled. "I don't need another doe-eyed doctor pretending to care while billing my insurance. You're all the same, vultures waiting for me to die." Indigo set the pitcher down carefully and pulled up a chair, sitting despite his dismissal. "You're absolutely right that I'll bill your insurance. Medical school debt isn't going to pay itself. But you're wrong about the caring part. I do care, even when you're throwing things. Especially then, actually, because anger like yours doesn't come from nowhere. It comes from being terrified and having no control." Something flickered in Quillen's hostile expression, surprise that she hadn't fled, recognition that she'd named the truth he was hiding. "You don't know anything about me."
"I know you're 34, which is too young for this diagnosis," Indigo said gently. "I know you built Ashford Tech from your garage into a company worth hundreds of millions. I know you have no family listed as emergency contacts, which means you're facing this alone. And I know that beneath all this rage is someone who's absolutely terrified of dying. Am I close?" Quillen's eyes filled with tears. He immediately blinked away. "Close enough. Now leave me alone." "Can't do that," Indigo said. "I'm your oncologist now, whether you like it or not. So here's the deal. You can yell at me, refuse treatment, throw things if it helps, but I'm showing up every day regardless. You don't get to push me away that easily." What Indigo didn't know was that Quillen's hostility masked a lifetime of abandonment and betrayal. Orphaned at 10, bounced through foster homes, he'd built his empire through ruthless determination and trust no one. His fiancée had left when the diagnosis came, unable to handle watching him deteriorate. Every relationship in his life had been transactional, and he expected doctors to be no different. But Dr. Marsh kept showing up. When Quillen refused chemotherapy consultations, she sat and explained options without judgment. When he threw bedpans, she calmly cleaned up and continued talking. When he screamed that he wanted to die, she listened without platitudes, acknowledging his pain without trying to fix it with empty reassurances. "Why do you even bother?" Quillen asked one afternoon after a particularly brutal round of chemotherapy had left him retching and weak. "I'm horrible to you. I've said things that would make other doctors refuse to treat me. What do you get out of this?"
Indigo considered the question carefully. "Honestly, the satisfaction of watching you fight even when you claim you've given up. Every time you curse at me, you're still engaging. Every time you argue about treatment, you're still processing options. You're not actually ready to die, Quillen. You're just exhausted from living alone." The truth in her words hit him like a physical blow. "I don't know how to do it differently. Everyone leaves eventually. Why would you be different?" "Because I chose this work knowing it meant showing up for people on their worst days," Indigo said quietly. "My little brother died of leukemia when I was 15. He was 8 years old, scared and in pain, but his oncologist treated him like he mattered, like his fear and anger and sadness all deserved space and dignity. That doctor changed how I understood medicine. It's not just about treating disease. It's about honoring the whole terrified, angry, hopeful, complex human in front of you." Quillen stared at her, something in his carefully constructed walls beginning to crack. Over the following weeks, his hostility gradually transformed into grudging cooperation, then cautious trust, then something approaching friendship. He still had bad days, days when the pain made him cruel, when fear manifested as rage, but Indigo weathered them all with consistent, patient presence. What Quillen didn't share, what shame kept hidden, was that he'd planned his will to leave everything to medical research institutions, with specific instructions that none of it go to doctors who treated him. He'd assumed they were all mercenaries, that compassion was performance. But Indigo was different, and it was dismantling every cynical assumption he'd built his life around. 4 months into treatment, during a routine scan, they discovered the cancer had spread aggressively. The prognosis shifted from uncertain to grim. Quillen took the news with unexpected calm, then asked to speak with his lawyer. "I need to change my will," he said when the lawyer arrived, Indigo present at Quillen's request. "Everything I've built, the company, the foundation, the assets, I'm restructuring it all." The lawyer looked concerned. "Mr. Ashford, are you certain? This is a significant decision to make during treatment."
"I'm dying," Quillen interrupted bluntly. "We all know it. The treatment bought me time, and I've spent that time learning something important. That how you treat people matters more than what you accomplish. Dr. Marsh showed me that every single day, and I want my legacy to reflect what she taught me." He turned to Indigo, who sat quietly stunned. "I'm establishing the Marsh Compassionate Care Foundation, funding for oncology programs that prioritize patient dignity, scholarships for medical students committed to underserved populations, grants for doctors who go above and beyond their job descriptions. You changed how I see the world, Dr. Marsh. Let me help change how medicine sees patients." Indigo's eyes filled. "Quillen, I didn't do this for recognition or money." "I know," he said gently. "That's exactly why you deserve it. You showed up when I was at my absolute worst, when I gave you every reason to walk away. You saw past my wealth and anger to a terrified person who needed compassion more than chemotherapy. That kind of care shouldn't be rare, it should be the standard." What neither of them knew was that Indigo had been considering leaving medicine, exhausted by a system that prioritized efficiency over empathy, burned out from fighting for her patients against insurance limitations and bureaucratic indifference. Quillen's recognition reminded her why she'd chosen this path. 3 weeks later, Quillen passed away peacefully, with Indigo holding his hand. His last words were not about regret or fear, but gratitude. "Thank you for seeing me, not the CEO or the difficult patient, just me. That was the greatest gift anyone ever gave me." The foundation he established became transformative, funding programs across the country that trained doctors in compassionate care, supporting medical students who committed to serving marginalized populations, creating systems that valued patient dignity alongside clinical outcomes.
And Indigo, now leading the Foundation's medical advisory board while maintaining her practice, stood before medical students each year sharing Quillen's story. "He taught me that the most hostile patients are often the most frightened," she told them, "that cruelty is frequently armor protecting profound vulnerability, that showing up consistently with patience and genuine care can transform not just one life, but entire systems. We entered medicine to heal. Sometimes that means treating disease. Sometimes it means treating the fear and loneliness disease creates. Always, it means seeing the complete human in front of us and choosing compassion, especially when it's difficult. Because kindness in medicine isn't about bedside manner or patient satisfaction scores. It's about recognizing that illness strips away defenses, that people lash out when they're terrified, that the most difficult patients often need care most desperately. One doctor's choice to stay, to see past hostility to pain, transformed a dying man's final months and created a legacy that would reshape how thousands of patients would be treated for generations, proving that compassion isn't weakness in medicine, it's the most powerful healing tool we possess. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, subscribe, and comment. Let's spread more stories of kindness and hope together.